Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Ian Saturday Night. Well, today is Christmas night, and it went off pleasantly, if a little chaotic. I went for coffee, and it was hard to go to coffee because many places were closed. The usual coffee place I go to was closed, and the other usual coffee place I go to is closed. So I scrambled around for 2 hours to try to get coffee like a caffeinated scavenger hunt. Anyway, that was the craziest thing that happened this Christmas, but it was pleasantly. I had a great dinner of fish and potato salad. It was amazing, as it always is, and I'm just going along. I want to get something off my chest because when I woke up this morning, I was on a terrible voyage. I had a terrible dream. I had a very unusual surrealistic dream. In my dream, it's very involved and very time consuming, but in my dream, my girlfriend in the dream, which is Joaquin, we'll say, because I know it was her. My girlfriend in the dream, she called me up on the phone. Mind you, this is a dream. So she called me up on the phone and saying that she was gonna buy a necklace. So I had gotten word that the necklace was bought and stolen and in charge of by ruthless gangsters. So of course I told her not to buy the necklace, but she wouldn't hear of not buying the necklace, so she was gonna go ahead and buy it. But I knew that she was in St. Augustine. She agreed to meet me there, so I went to St. Augustine, and I had to go through a lot of trouble. I went by car for 5 hours in the dream, stopping at every rest stop, and then I had to go by boat, and the boat was a very slow process as the boat was held up by 5 boats in the process, and I had to wait for the drawbridge to go down, very slow, and they had to open up these gates by handheld iron cranks. I could see the iron cranks in my, it was as real as life, because in the dream I had to use the bathroom. And there was a big line to get in the lock. They had to open up the locks, these big wooden gates with latches, and the gates would take minutes upon minutes to open. And when I finally got there, I was in a big restaurant with lots of tables but no space. So I finally got there. I was hoping to see my Joaquin, and of course, she wasn't there, and she said there was no way that she could manage to come. So I felt heartsick and awful, like my heart was stepped on 1,000 times, and I just had this great sense of failure and loss. Just like the feelings that I had in Mexico, except that in the dream I wasn't crying. So I felt the worst of the worst, going all that way in St. Augustine and not being able to see her after 2.5 years. And I thought to myself, this is awful. This is just what I expected. So the dream was very nerve-wracking. Mostly it was a tedious dream, and I tried to get a sandwich, and I couldn't get a sandwich because the person I was with didn't understand what I was saying, and it was just a horrible dream, as you can imagine. So I woke up, and come to find out, the reason why I had the dream is because I was listening to a radio show about a necklace. So that's very strange. because I listen to CBS Mystery Theater when I go to sleep, and when I'm sleeping, it's still going on, and my mind takes the cue from whatever's going on in the radio program, and of course, that's why I dreamed what I dreamed, combined with my feelings of Mexico. So that was the morning. I was totally exhausted when I woke up, and Joaquin in real life, she texted me Merry Christmas, which was nice of her, but the dream was so vivid, I didn't want to respond or have anything to do with St. Augustine, so I didn't really respond very warmly. I just said Merry Christmas without saying anything. So there you have it. And then I had a pleasant enough afternoon with a panettone cake from Italy, because I don't have that very often for reasons that I might or may not go into at this point, but I don't have it very often. It's a very rich Italian cake, but I love it. So I brought it over once. It was over once on Johnson Lane, but my roommate ate it by mistake because he thought it was regular bread and butter. And that makes me laugh, but I won't mention anything else about it. Anyway, so that was my morning. Panettone cake, very, very, very yummy. And so I went on with my Christmas. I had trouble finding a coffee shop. It took 2 hours, and that was an adventure in itself. I finally got coffee, but it was few and far between. And then when I stopped to get the last coffee at a food truck, I swallowed wrong, and it took me 20 minutes to settle down, because when the liquid goes down the wrong pipe in accordance to how I'm driving my chair, it's a total whammy. So I felt it throughout my entire body, but I finally managed to calm down and breathe till the respiratory trauma passed as I was swallowing, and I went on my way. So that was my Christmas. So I didn't have a bad Christmas, but let's hear for more exciting Christmases next Christmas. I'm looking forward to Nosferatu and the Bob Dylan movie this weekend, so it should be good. And I'm just trying to stay positive. I mentioned the dream because I believe that dreams are part of reality. So I hope you don't mind me. I hope my listeners don't mind me digressing into the dream world, as I find it very revealing about my own personality and my own self-discovery. So I hope you don't mind me sharing my dream with you. So that's about it. There's many things that I'm hopeful for in the future. I'm just going day to day, just trying to stay creative. I'm working on my writing, and I'm thinking about painting. My desk is still cluttered. Hopefully will unclutter it, and I want to go forward as much as I can. I'm gonna make a promise to myself not to be too hard on myself or not to beat myself up, as I've been through a lot this past year with relationship struggles and feelings of insecurity and inadequacy perhaps, because I blame myself for how things went down. But I have to remember that my girlfriend didn't always act correctly either. Thinking that I was going to move in and having money for giving money for the rent and having that not come through feels badly on my heart, I have to say. So, but I have to try not to beat myself up and know that she has her own struggles, and leave it at that. My faithful listeners know what I'm talking about, so I don't have to go into too much detail, but it all weighs heavy on my heart, and I don't know if I'll ever meet anybody. I don't know if I'll ever meet anybody again in my mortal existence, but at least I can see what happens. That's all I can do. I'm an acquired taste like caramel wine or blue cheese ice cream. So I'm a very acquired taste, and I know that it takes a patient person to handle me, and that's like finding a needle in a haystack. So I may very well not find that person again, but at least I have my imagination. And to some people that sounds like a losing perspective, but for me it's not a losing perspective. It's not losing or winning. It's just it is the reality of the moment, and I just have to wait and see what happens. I'm a very romantic person. Romance is very important to me, but I have to be realistic and say that it might not happen for me again. But that's how the dice of the cosmos and divinity rolls. I like that device of divinity. That's how the dice of the divinity rolls, and we have the device of divinity rolls, and we have to see what happens. That's all I can do. I don't know what else to say. I read about Stoicism. And I want to embrace it, but Stoicism seems very cold, a very cold philosophy to have, because essentially you're not, it's not that you don't care, but essentially in terms of being fiery, you're in neutral. And I don't know if I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it's possible for me to be in neutral, in the neutral gear. I've never been in the neutral gear. What I tend to do is I tend to take things, I tend to accept everything, and then things build and build and build and build, and then I explode. So it's not, I don't have a fiery temper, but I take everything in, and I take everything in, and I take everything in, and then when things when the scales go down so much, I tend to get fiery, and then the pressure's off again. So that's how I am. But life is an experience, and I'll go on, because as I said in my last episode, she's okay with what happened, so I have to be okay with what happened. Okay, everyone, I will talk to you next week, and thanks for tuning in. This has been Ian Saturday Night, even on I think it's a Thursday now, Ian Saturday Night, on a Thursday morning, and I'll see you next week. Bye.